While the world eagerly awaits the redesigned 2026 Toyota RAV4 and its big updates with its powertrains, its design, and it's going fully electrified as well, meaning the base model is going to be the RAV4 hybrid. All right, stay tuned for that, guys. Make sure you subscribe. But on the other side of the world, a vehicle that we're actually very familiar with called the Harrier. Now, the Harrier most recently was called the Venza in the United States. Historically, it's actually been a clone of the Lexus RX, but we're getting some trickling information about this segment-defying sort of vehicle. And it's also bringing brand new engines with it, new powertrains that we've never seen before on a Toyota or Lexus. Guys, we're going to break down this article from Best Car Magazine today. And if you were excited, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And guys, in just a couple days, let me show you. I'll be live streaming the New York Auto Show big reveals. So we have Hyundai starting on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Then right after 10:50 Eastern time, we have Subaru debuting two vehicles. One's the Trailseeker EV, which is going to be a clone of a Toyota vehicle, or you could say a clone of the Subaru. Just depends on where it's made. I think it's going to be made in Subaru's Gunma plant in Japan, the Trailseeker, as well as the Toyota variant. But we'll also get a reveal of the Outback Hybrid. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned for that. So let's get into this cool vehicle. The good old Harrier. Toyota is still, a lot of their manpower is still put to the front lines of working through a lot of their shortcomings lately, especially when it comes to certification fraud, emissions cheating. So they're trying to put out the fires, a large part of the company. So this vehicle's, it's kind of got put on the back burner, but it will be coming, they say, in 2027. Guys, that's a few years from now. It was supposed to be, I think, 2025, 2026. It's been pushed back. Now, it could be pushed back to make sure that this new engine that's going into it is not going to, run into any issues. They're calling this the X15 engine. These new engines from Toyota are going to be very flexible, at least when it comes to fuel source. You can run hydrogen in them. You could run liquid natural gas, LNG. And because these engines are so compact, you're going to be able to make such a unique looking vehicle. You'll have more flexibility with the design because the engine is much more squatty. It's narrow, or I guess it's not as tall, it's shorter. Now, so you have shorter roof lines. There also is going to be a much greater assist with electric motor on this hybrid. So this 1.5 liter inline four engine is not designed to actually be in a non-hybrid setup. What does that mean? Well, because of that, they're saying that its efficiency will be able to go up because it's really designed just to be, in many cases, just a generator for the battery, but in under certain situations, it can assist with the electric motor to propel the vehicle. But it seems to be that Toyota is almost going a little bit more similar to what the Chinese are doing with their EREV setup. Also, it kind of bridging the gap kind of with Honda's hybrids, except Toyota still will have an advantage when it comes to overall efficiency on the highway until Honda can surprise us in one way or the other. So Honda still has next-gen hybrids coming. But yes, we have a 2-liter. We're not talking about the 2-liter today, but this will be going into plenty of Toyota vehicles like the new Celica / MR2, whatever they're going to call it, and Lexus models as well. But this is a replacement for the 2.7 turbo, and the 2.7 turbo was a replacement for the 3.5-liter V6. This thing could have up to 400 horsepower. Anyways, so they're talking about in this article how this Harrier, also known as the Venza, and no, I know, guys, the Venza was discontinued for America. The new Harrier is unlikely to make its way into America, but the technology that it's coming with will make its way into America. We just don't know exactly when or how. It will not be on this new RAV4. The RAV4 coming out a year, 2 years before this new Venza / Harrier is going to be sticking with the 2.5 liter engine. We know this engine, this dynamic force engine, very well. It's going to be much more compact and will provide better performance, this 1.5 turbo. No, we don't really see this 1.5 liter stateside. You see this 1.5 liter on the left that's currently employed in things like the Yaris Cross. But look how much more narrow this new engine is. They only show this engine really with the electric motor setup adjacent to it, and the inverter right here as well. All right, you can see how small this setup is and how tiny it is sitting inside of a Prius, which a Prius uses a 2-liter engine. And so with this setup, they're expecting close to 250 horsepower, 180 horsepower just coming from that little engine alone. But keep in mind, this new hybrid setup is going to be more electrified with more motor assist than we've ever seen before. It'll also have a bigger battery pack. Now, in terms of the design, they say that this vehicle, it's not really an SUV anymore, the Venza. They're saying the wheelbase is being lengthened here. The overhangs are being squished down. Now, from this image, it doesn't look like it that much. It still has pretty big overhangs, especially the front one. But this is just an artist's interpretation of what this vehicle will look like. This vehicle will do well in Japan. Will they bring it into America? And the answer is I highly doubt it. They canceled the Venza twice here. You might be saying, Kirk, the most recent Venza was the Harrier. The previous Venza was not the Harrier. I know. All right. But this vehicle is unlikely to make it stateside, because when I look at this, I'm like, well, I'd probably just rather have the Crown Signia. All right. The Crown Estate, the wagon Crown. Now, that vehicle is probably a little bit longer, but if the Venza comes up / Harrier comes out looking like this, it looks nowhere as sharp, in my opinion, as the Crown Signia. So hopefully this is subject to change, this design. All right. Best car, they're hit or miss. Sometimes they have the design like 95% nailed down, months, years ahead of time. And sometimes it doesn't look anything like the vehicle. All right. That actually comes to production. So, we kind of have that HDMI / USB exhaust port back here. I think it's cool. A light bar in the back. I mean, it's an okay looking vehicle. It's just there's already going to be too much competition. Now, the new CHR Plus is coming to the United States. Let me pull that up and let's compare these two vehicles. All right, the CHR Plus is much taller, and it's going to be a shorter vehicle. I think the new Harrier is going to have a longer wheelbase. Now, they're saying there could be BEV versions of this eventually on the bottom. It's going to debut with that 1.5 turbo hybrid. It's also going to have a plug-in hybrid as well. But my understanding with the plug-in hybrids on these new next-gen engines, we're going to see much bigger range than we currently have. Now, it all depends. I think the RAV4 PHEV with this new generation is going to have more range. It should have more than 50 miles of range. I would expect the same on this, maybe even more. It really just depends how EREV they want to make it. Engine really is only used as a generator, all right? And it uses fully electric propulsion. They could go that route with this next generation plug-in hybrid on the Venza / Harrier. But in terms of looks and design, guys, the new CHR Plus is a much better looking vehicle than this new Harrier, all right? And it's beating it to the market by a year or two. This is coming to the United States spring, or should I say winter of 2026. So January is what I'm seeing or hearing. And then this vehicle, it might be exclusive to Japan. But like I said, this vehicle is going to change all of Toyota's engine and hybrid technology. And that's why I'm covering it. All right. Well, one, I like covering any new Toyota, whether we get it or not. But this vehicle is going to be ushering in a new era of Toyota hybrids. Not necessarily the RAV4 in the United States. That's just going to be maximizing the current technology that they have. This is a next generation technology down below. But that's all I have on the Harrier for now. What I also find interesting is them discussing the next generation Mazda CX-3. Now, we used to get the CX-3 in the United States. It was discontinued, and we get the CX-30. Now, there's a possibility the CX-3 and the CX-30 combine as a global model, and the CX-3 gets a little bigger. That's a possibility. But the interesting thing here is they're saying that this will have a plug-in hybrid with a rotary. Now, that already exists on the MX-30 and other markets, but it's likely to have a next generation, a more efficient version of it employed here on the CX-3. Now, this new CX-3 or whatever it'll be called, it'll be made down in Thailand, as they're really beefing up their manufacturing capacity down there in Southeast Asia. So they're saying about 180 horsepower, and it would be fully electric driven. The rotary would just be a range extender or a generator, essentially. But I just wanted to share that. They talk about the history of the WRX, and then they also show the interior of the new Honda Prelude, which it will be revealed, actually not revealed, but completely available by the end of this year. And I will drive it and get to test this new S Plus button. I would say, I think that, they have a picture of this button over here, which is going to make it drive like a DCT sports car, except being essentially fully electric driven. It's going to be quite crazy. It's going to be one of the most fun to drive hybrids ever made. Leave it to Honda, right? Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you like the design of this new Harrier/Venza. I'll just wait to have really an opinion outside of it doesn't look that great right now. But this is not an official image of it, so what does it matter? I just hope that the improvements this vehicle does bring to the market, we see it very soon after. Where would we see this 1.5 engine in? Well, it might actually, the naturally aspirated version of it might come in the Corolla in 2027. That might be our first sampling. And that 1.5 engine would eventually replace, in theory, the 2-liter hybrid, potentially some 2.5-liter hybrid applications. And then we'll have the 1.5 turbo that this vehicle will specifically have. And then when that will come to the RAV4, we could be waiting, guys, a whole nother generation. It could be 6 years, 7 years before we see the 1.5 turbo. All right. This engine is probably really designed for the European market. There's stricter emissions over there, the Chinese market, and how competitive that market is. And then we might see these engines, because the Lexus models are so global, we might see these engines in Lexus before they start taking over the mass market cars like the Camry and the RAV4, for example. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. I hope to have some exciting news for you this week, and I will see you hopefully at the live stream on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. for Hyundai, and then Subaru following thereafter. Have a great day, and peace out.